Leo was never the biggest kid in the room. He wasn't the fastest either. From a young age, people underestimated him. They saw a skinny kid with big dreams. But dreams don't always become reality. They whispered doubts in his ears. They said he wasn't cut out for it. Leo ignored the doubters. He had a fire in his heart. He knew he was capable of greatness. Leo believed in himself even when no one else did. He knew that hard work could overcome any obstacle. He had a simple philosophy: outwork everyone else. And that's exactly what he did, every single day. Leo's journey started in a small town. It wasn't fancy, it was humble, but it was home. He trained in his backyard, rain or shine. He pushed his body to the limits. He knew he had to work harder than everyone else, and he did. Leo's passion was fighting, not just any fighting. He was drawn to the discipline and the challenge of martial arts. He saw it as a way to test himself, to prove the doubters wrong. He started training in a small local gym. The gym was old and worn, but it was his sanctuary. It was where he honed his skills. He learned from experienced trainers. They saw something special in him, a spark, a determination that couldn't be taught. They pushed him harder. They saw his potential. Leo soaked up their knowledge like a sponge. He trained with a ferocity that surprised everyone. He wasn't afraid to put in the hours. He knew that success required sacrifice. Late nights in the gym became routine. He pushed his body to the edge. He embraced the pain. It was all part of the process. He was becoming stronger, faster, and more determined. Leo's days started before the sun came up. He'd wake up while the world was still asleep. He'd lace up his running shoes and hit the pavement. Mile after mile he pushed himself. He knew that champions weren't made in their comfort zones. After his runs, he'd come home to an ice bath. The freezing water shocked his system, but it was part of his routine. It helped his muscles recover. It made him feel alive. Then, it was time for breakfast. A simple meal to fuel his body for the day ahead. Training sessions were grueling. Hours of sparring, conditioning, and technique work. Leo never complained. He embraced the challenge. He knew that every drop of sweat was bringing him closer to his goal. He worked on his punches, his kicks, his defense. He honed his skills until they were razor sharp. Leo had a mantra: hard work beats talent. He lived by these words. He knew that talent alone wasn't enough. It was the work ethic, the dedication, the relentless pursuit of excellence that separated the good from the great. He outworked everyone in the gym. He never took shortcuts. He knew that pain was temporary. It was the price of admission to greatness. He embraced the sore muscles, the fatigue, the setbacks. They were all part of the journey. He learned from his mistakes. He never gave up. He used every failure as fuel to push himself harder. Leo's dedication was inspiring. He became a role model for the younger fighters in the gym. They looked up to him. They saw what dedication looked like. They saw that anything was possible with hard work. Leo's work ethic was contagious. It pushed everyone around him to be better. As Leo's skills grew, so did his reputation. People started to take notice of the skinny kid with the big heart. He started competing in amateur fights, and he was winning. He was beating bigger, stronger opponents. People were surprised. They didn't expect him to win. But Leo thrived on proving them wrong. Despite his success, the doubters remained. They said he wouldn't make it in the professional ranks. They said he was too small, too inexperienced. Leo used their doubts as fuel. He channeled their negativity into motivation. He knew that the only way to silence them was to keep winning. Leo turned professional. He was thrown into the deep end. His first few opponents were tough. He had to fight tooth and nail for every victory, but he never backed down. He earned the respect of his peers. They saw his heart. They saw his determination. Leo was becoming a force to be reckoned with. The night of the fight arrived. The atmosphere was electric. The crowd was buzzing with anticipation. Leo was facing his toughest opponent yet, a seasoned veteran known for his power and aggression. Leo was the underdog. Nobody thought he could win. The lights dimmed, and the crowd erupted. Leo walked into the ring with a calmness that belied the pressure he was under. He knew what he had to do. He had trained for this moment. This was his time to shine. His opponent entered the ring like a raging bull. He was bigger, stronger, and more experienced. But Leo wasn't intimidated. He had faced long odds before. The bell rang and the fight began. Leo's opponent came out swinging. He was throwing bombs. Leo had to weather the storm. He used his speed and agility to avoid the big shots. He knew he couldn't win in a brawl. He had to stick to his game plan. He had to be smart. The fight was a grueling back-and-forth affair. Leo's opponent was relentless. He kept coming forward, throwing heavy punches. Leo's face was starting to show the wear and tear. He had a cut over his eye and his nose was bleeding, but he refused to quit. He dug deep. He drew on his training. He reminded himself why he was there. He was fighting for something bigger than himself. He was fighting for every person who had ever been told they weren't good enough. He was fighting for the belief that hard work could overcome any obstacle. He had to prove the doubters wrong. He had to show the world what he was made of. In the later rounds, Leo's opponent started to tire. He had punched himself out. Leo saw an opportunity. He started to turn the tide. He landed a series of combinations that stunned his opponent. The crowd went wild. They could sense an upset in the making. Leo poured on the pressure. He knew he had his opponent hurt. He unleashed a flurry of punches, each one more powerful than the last. His opponent stumbled back, his legs turning to jelly. Leo sensed the finish was near. He gathered all his strength and unleashed one final devastating blow. The crowd went silent. Leo's opponent crashed to the canvas. He didn't move. The referee waved his arms over the fallen fighter. It was over. Leo had done it. He had beaten the odds. He had proven that anything was possible with hard work and determination. The crowd erupted in cheers. They had just witnessed something special. They had seen the heart of a champion. Leo had shown the world that it wasn't about size, strength, or talent. It was about the will to win, the refusal to quit, the unwavering belief in oneself. Leo's victory was a testament to the power of hard work. He had achieved the impossible. He had gone from being an underestimated kid to a champion. His journey was an inspiration to everyone who dared to dream big. He had shown the world that anything was possible if you were willing to put in the work. He didn't make excuses, he didn't complain, he simply put his head down and worked harder than anyone else. And in the end, that's what made all the difference. Leo's story is a reminder that we are all capable of greatness. We all have the potential to achieve our dreams, but it takes hard work, dedication, and an unwavering belief in ourselves. So the next time you're facing a challenge, remember Leo's journey. Remember that hard work beats talent. Remember that champions are made, not born. Remember that anything is possible if you're willing to put in the effort. No excuses, just results. Go out there and make your dreams a reality.